In this lesson I will continue with vector math, and this time it will be about face forward. Face forward is a relatively new node. I think it went into Blender in 2.93, and the easiest way to show how it works is to change a bit here. So we take away the plane and add a sphere instead. So select the plane, press delete, press shift A, and then go to mesh and select the sphere, so you have that in. Now you can subdivide it, so we go to the modifier properties, add modifier, and then we add a subdivision surface, put it twice or 2, and in object we smooth everything out, so shade smooth or shade outer smooth, doesn't matter so much. And now we also need an empty, so I press shift A and we go down to empty and select plane axis. Now we drag it away, so we press G, X, and just move it out a bit, and then select the sphere again. And now it's time for the material, so go to the material properties and either make a new one or just select the one that you have, so we have something to work with. And take away the principle, still not using that. And instead we use the texture coordinate, so shift A, input, and select the texture coordinate, so we have that in. And now I also would like to have the face forward in, so I press shift A, and here I go to converter, vector math, and in this list you will have face forward, so select that one. It looks rather complicated. You have 3 inputs and it's still a vector math thing out and so on, but it's more like a dot product with an inclusion of an additional vector. So what that means in more practical terms is that you now can show where the face forward is from the viewer's perspective. In this case it's the empty, so if I have the empty here, it can show that this area here is the face forward, and the rest we can use for a texture or something like that. And I will show how to connect all these things. So first of all we can select our empty as an object in our texture coordinate, so we have that in. And then we can use the UV to the first one, because that is the vector that will be transported to the output here as well. So we also need a texture, of course, so shift A in texture, we can use the brick texture and put that in here, and I take the color to the surface and I put this into rendered view, and you can now see that it still looks okay even if we use this face forward thing here. Now we need these two to work, and to make that work in a good way you can take the normal here, put that to the first one, and you can take the object that now is pointing at the empty to the lower one here. And as soon as you do that, you could see here that we get some circular shape. It's rather faint, but it's there. So if I now move around the empty, you can see that this circle is in front of the empty all the time. Wherever I go, the circle follows along. So now it's more about breaking out that circle and use it in our material, and that is not too hard to do. We can do it in several ways, but one simple way is to just add an vector math add. So I can take this one, shift D for copy, and select add, and put that in here together with a UV like this. And if I now use this one instead of the one from face forward in our brick, you can see we now get the texture for the front side here. So now only the front is visible with our texture like this. Since we use the UV and add with the face forward UV, the scale is now twice as small, but that is easily fixed by changing the scale here, of course, or something like that. So that is one way to do it. We can also just take this vector directly from face forward into this one and use this with a length node. So we put in a length here, can just copy this, Shift D, and change it to length, and use that, because if we use this, put that to the surface, you can see now that I get white in front of this empty. So if I move that around, you get white here. So that means that I now can use this for some texture and this for some other texture. Or if I just want to put the light here or whatever, that's easily done. So to do it, it's just to put in a mix RGB here. So Shift A, color, and a mix RGB. And we take the length into the factor, and we take this brick texture into the lower part here for having in the front, or in the top part if we want it in the back here. So now I have it in the back, and I can move this around, and you have like a light that is shining on the texture. So now we have the texture and like the dot functionality. If you remember everything correctly in my lesson about dot product, you normally had a dark spot here, you didn't have a bright spot, so we needed to inverse it to get the bright spot in the dot product. The face forward does that automatically, so we always get the face or the bright side that is towards the empty in this case here. So then we can of course change this to different colors or use another texture. So if I would like to put in, I don't know, a checker texture, whatever, I just put in Shift A, texture, and like checker texture, and I can take that directly from my add here and put it in to the yellow, and now I have a checker texture wherever I go with my empty here. And since it works with the UV, you can of course put in images and so on, but this is how face forward works. So it's like a luxury version of the dot product. Okay, so that was all for this lesson, and as usual I hope that you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. So I just say bye for now.